What is up, everybody? Today we are doing the top 10 of my personal favorite Roland Emmerich movies. King of Disaster, if you've seen any of his movies. If not, they're definitely worth checking out if you like the disaster genre, because they're probably going to rank towards the top as far as visual effects and cast go. But I absolutely love most of his movies. He does have a few flops, everyone does, but and it's not necessarily flops at the box office, but just flops in general as far as people not liking them. But I'll start with number 10, which would be my least favorite, to number 1, which is my favorite. So starting off at number 10 is Independence Day Resurgence. I had some high hopes for this movie, and it let me down big time. This and Alien Covenant both kind of let me down, but that was by a different director. But yeah, they kind of just threw this together, it seems, and didn't really take the time to round anything out or make it consistent. Will Smith turned this movie down because he was trying to win his Oscar, and I don't think they really prepared for him to turn it down. I thought they just automatically assumed he would say yes. If he had said yes, I bet it would have been better. But that's why it's number 10 on this list. The visual effects are fantastic, so you can't deny that. And of course, everything blows up real well, just like he's really good at doing. Number 9 would be 10,000 BC. I liked this movie just because it was a different type of movie for him to do. It wasn't a disaster movie, but it was like a love story, adventure, taking place a long time ago, which was an awesome setting. Not a lot of huge stars in this movie, which is most of their budget probably went straight to visual effects and less for the cast for this one. But it's actually a very fun movie to watch. Definitely worth checking out if you haven't seen it before. Number 8 would be Godzilla. This would be my second favorite Godzilla movie after the one with Alan Taylor Johnson that came out, the first one in this new monster universe or whatever. I think that was 2011 or 12, I believe it came out. But still, that one would be my top favorite Godzilla movie. This would be second, especially for its time, considering what time it was made. The visual effects for this one were second to none. Not a huge Matthew Broderick fan, but he does okay in this movie. I think maybe it could have been better with a better cast. But, there's only so much money to throw around, which is why it's further down here. Then next we have White House Down. Basically an even higher budget version of Olympus Has Fallen with a younger cast versus an older cast. But I don't think this one was as good as Olympus Has Fallen, and they came out the same year, which was probably why it didn't do so well at the box office. But still a very solid action movie. Channing Tatum does great. Jamie Foxx does okay. Aaron Eckhart was better as the president in Olympus Has Fallen, but great supporting cast as well. The terrorists have a different thing in mind versus in Olympus Has Fallen, but it is what it is. Very fun movie if you haven't seen it before. I'm sure it's streaming somewhere. Then next we have Universal Soldier. He's great with the sci-fi movies as well. This is an absolute classic. It spurned off like more sequels, of course. A lot of them not very good. But Jean-Claude Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren in this movie were fantastic. Classic movie. I go back and watch it every few years. The second one was even good, but it wasn't directed by Roland Emmerich. But very fun movie. Very different as far as, especially for its time, it was very original. So if you like sci-fi action movies, this is for you right here. Then next we have The Patriot with Mel Gibson. A lot of people don't seem to realize that he directed this movie or are surprised that he did. But this is a great movie. You really invest in a lot of the characters. It's a pretty long movie as well. The setting is great. Cast is perfect. A lot of emotion in this movie as well, and the soundtrack helps it out. Looks like $1 million on screen. I bet. I don't know if this has a 4K. If it does, I definitely need to get it, because I'm sure it looks even better on 4K. But I do love this movie. This is a great movie. This movie got me into watching movies like Glory and Gettysburg and stuff like that. And they are nowhere near as good as this one. Glory is probably the closest one to this as far as being good. And then next, of course, he is the king of disaster movies. So we have 2012. Phenomenal movie. Loved it. Did really well at the box office. I think people just know when a Roland Emmerich disaster movie comes out that they're going to see it. And this was no exception. It was fantastic. John Cusack did great in this movie. So did all the rest of the cast. You need to check this out if you haven't seen it before. Obviously, 2012 has passed, so all the conspiracy theorists will be like, this movie's a lie. But it is what it is. Very fun movie. Then next we have Stargate. Like I said before, he's really good with the original ideas and sci-fi movies, and this was amazing. I would have loved to have seen a sequel to this as far as movie goes. It did spur off the TV series, which are equally as fantastic, if not even a little better. But this movie was an amazing story. Wasn't super high budget for special effects, but very, very well done. Worth checking out if you haven't seen it before. I know this is streaming on a lot of streaming services, so you should be able to check this out pretty easy. And then at number 2, we have Independence Day. Again, king of disaster movies. This is probably the best alien invasion movie out there. And with good reason. And considering it was made in 96, the visual effects hold up really, really well today even. And on 4K, it looks super sharp. That's why I think they dropped the ball with Resurgence, because this one was such a classic. Watch it every year, as well as most of his disaster movies. The only alien invasion movie that maybe measures up to this one would be Battle Los Angeles. And even that's just a little bit below this one, but I do love Battle Los Angeles as well. But he didn't direct that movie. But an amazing cast for this movie as well. Not all of them returned for the sequel, which is also what kind of made it kind of a letdown. But it is what it is. And then finally, number 1. My favorite Roland Emmerich movie of all time is The Day After Tomorrow. His best disaster movie. The characters were great. The soundtrack was second to none. Dennis Quaid did amazing in this movie, as did J.O. Sanders. And then Jake Gyllenhaal and Emmy Rossum did great as well. Cannot say enough good things about this movie. I could watch this over and over and over and never get bored of watching this movie. So I 100% recommend this to everyone out there. But this is the end of this list. Now, there is another disaster movie that he did make called Moonfall, which is not on this list. It is not on this list because it is a horrible movie. The trailer made it look like it was just the moon falling towards the earth, which would have been fine. It's just a regular disaster movie then. How are they going to get out of this one? Everything's getting destroyed. Everyone's dying. But then it just took a really weird turn, which I didn't like. So it will not be. That's why it is not on this list. Didn't do well at the box office either, probably for that same reason. But that does it for this list. If you like content like this, please like and subscribe. Your support is much appreciated. I am also over on Letterboxd. The link to that is in the profile description of this channel. Otherwise, until next time, guys.